Mark Grayson, aka Invincible, starts his superhero journey getting the absolute shit kicked out of him. Over and over again. Season 1 builds up to that brutal fight with his own father, where Omni-Man doesn't just beat him, he completely destroys him, slamming him through buildings, dragging him across the city, and never once looking like he's in danger. Every exchange, every moment, it's not even close. Now, 4 seasons later, we're asking a different question. At what point did Mark finally reach the same level as his dad? If he even has, because if you actually go back and follow his fights, season by season, there's a very clear moment where everything changes. And today, we're figuring out exactly when that happens. Before we get into it, this video will cover everything up through the end of Season 4, including major fights and outcomes, so if you're not caught up, this is your warning. Also, Invincible doesn't follow clean power scaling. Fights shift based on emotion, experience, and hesitation. And Mark is the biggest example of that, because early on, his biggest problem isn't just power, it's that he holds back. At the start of the show, Mark is constantly pulling his punches, even when he's clearly losing and getting overwhelmed. You can see it in how he fights. He throws big hits, but he never follows through with the intent to finish, always trying to stop the fight instead of end it, at least up to a certain point in the show. And against Viltrumites, that gets you turned into a homemade shish kebab, because they don't hesitate. They just slap the bitch right out of you the second you get within a kilometer of what they consider weakness. They end fights immediately and brutally without a second thought as to the lives they destroy. Before we judge Mark, we need to understand what Omni-Man level actually looks like. Season 1 makes it clear right away. He wipes out the Guardians of the Globe, not by overpowering them slowly, but by blitzing them, isolating each member, and killing them one by one before they can even coordinate properly. Although he does take a lot of damage in that fight that leaves him in a coma. Then the Flaxan invasion. These dudes really thought they had Earth on the ropes until Omni-Man shows them what a real dick-swinging conqueror looks like. Omni-Man disappears into their dimension for what feels like seconds, and when he comes back, their entire world is in ruins. Buildings collapsing, skies burning, their army completely wiped out. With their entire world gone, Nolan asks the kind remaining Flaxans to send him home before dropping an entire fucking mountain on their heads as a thank you for their cooperation. Then Season 2 adds even more. When he's floating in space, contemplating ending his life, he's sitting on the edge of a black hole. I don't need a background in geometry to tell you that alone is maybe the most impressive feat he ever pulled off. And then Thraxa. He's fighting multiple Viltrumites at once, completely incapacitating 3 of them alone while also protecting Mark at the same time. That's the level. That's the standard. Now put Mark in front of that monster. Omni-Man drives him straight into a mountain, the impact forming a crater around his body as the rock collapses inward. Mark doesn't react, he doesn't counter, he's just stuck absorbing it. Then Omni-Man keeps going, hitting him again before he can even recover, chaining blows while Mark is still disoriented, with teeth and blood flying and splattering across the rock as Mark gets absolutely demolished by the person who was supposed to love and protect him. Someone Mark trusted with his life just a few moments prior. And then the train. He holds Mark in place, arms locked, forcing him to watch as a train full of people crashes into them at full speed, bodies flying apart on impact. We don't need to go into detail, you get the picture. That wasn't a fight, that was a father-son lesson that there is in fact levels to this shit, and Mark has a long ways to go before he can truly earn his namesake. Now Season 2 is where things start to shift. Against Thula, Mark is actually trading blows with a Viltrumite, landing clean hits and reacting fast enough to stay in the exchange instead of getting overwhelmed immediately. He even gets the upper hand, but then he hesitates. You can see it. He pauses for just a second instead of finishing the fight, and that's all it takes. Thula drives her weapon straight into him. That hesitation costs him, but then Angstrom. When Debbie gets hurt, you see the shift immediately. Mark doesn't hold back anymore. He chases him down, smashing through environments, throwing punches with real intent, so much so that when it's over, he genuinely believes he killed him. That's the first real glimpse of what Mark looks like without restraint. By season 3, you can feel the difference right away. Mark's been training. His movements are sharper, his reactions quicker, his hits carry more weight behind them. He's not just swinging anymore. He's thinking while he fights. Then Conquest shows up, and Mark throws everything he has at him. Full speed punches, combinations, everything he's built up. And Conquest just smiles, barely reacting as the hits land. Then Conquest responds. He slams Mark into the ground hard enough to crater it, grabs him mid-motion to completely stop his momentum, and keeps attacking without ever giving him space to reset. Even when Mark tries to get back up, Conquest is already there again. No breathing room, no pause. And the only reason Mark survives is because Eve steps in, burning Conquest and creating that one opening. And when Eve gets hurt, Mark snaps again. Same pattern, same trigger. He unloads everything he has. And that's what allows him to finally put Conquest down. But not alone. Not yet. If you thought this scene alone was enough of a reason to consider Mark to be on Nolan's level, now I wouldn't blame you. The only reason I don't go all in is because of the fact Mark did get a lot of help from Eve at the end, and most likely never would have survived without her. There is also the fact that Conquest has so much fun doing genocide that he fucks around just long enough to find out, not really going all out from start to finish. You can see this evil kick he gets out of it, the way he stops to savor the moment he is about to rip Oliver in half so he can taste his blood. Like I said, there is levels to this shit. Now the rematch. This is it. No help, no hesitation. And it starts just as brutal. Conquest is ripping through him again, punching through his guard, tearing into him, pushing him to the edge almost immediately. But Mark loses it almost instantly in this fight as he watches him almost kill Oliver again for the second time. So this time, Mark doesn't hold back. He grabs Conquest by the throat, shooting his thumbs into his jugular, wraps him up completely, and refuses to let go. Even as Conquest is pounding him, even as his body is breaking down, Mark just keeps holding on, forcing the fight into a position where Conquest can't escape, leaving Conquest with zero breathing room literally. And then the most gruesome, cringe-inducing moment of the show takes place. Conquest with his thumb being bitten off, realizing that nothing he does will get Mark to let go, takes his last seconds of consciousness to let Mark know one last time he is built different, as he drives his entire arm through Mark's stomach and out his back, letting Mark's intestines spill out as Conquest gives a smirk like he really loves this shit. And even through all of that, Mark still doesn't let go. He finishes the job, killing Conquest once and for all, one-on-one, no help. That's the moment to me where Mark ascends to Nolan's rank as truly being about this shit. That's the moment where, to me, you can concretely say that Mark is on the same exact playing field as his dad in terms of raw strength with lots of room to grow and improve from here. Nolan still has vastly more experience than Mark, which might still give him the edge in a head-to-head matchup, but I think it's still pretty even here at least. And then Big Daddy Thragg shows up, and the face of power changes again, because when Mark and Omni-Man face him, they can't do anything. Thragg shrugs off their attacks, overpowers them in close range, and forces them on the defensive almost immediately. There are moments where Mark is literally trying to run for his life, fear etched across his face as he flies away as fast as he can to no avail, as Thragg effortlessly closes the distance and grabs Mark by the back of his head. And Omni-Man? Thragg socks that man so hard he turns into a rocket ship, not once but twice. Thragg cocks his fist back so quickly it creates a vacuum that sucks Nolan in just enough to receive the single most jaw-shattering uppercut I have ever seen. And in that moment, while Nolan is flying through the atmosphere, with the momentum threatening to send him straight back to Earth, he too realizes the same lesson he taught his son all those years ago. There is levels to this shit. Mark and Nolan fought side by side as equals in this fight, and both got destroyed in record time. They themselves might be equals finally, but now they face the absolute strongest in the universe. So when does Mark reach Omni-Man level? Not Season 1, not Thula, not Season 2, not the first Conquest fight, but the rematch. That's the exact moment to me where Mark clearly demonstrates he is capable of defeating an Omni-Man level threat. That's when Mark stops chasing Omni-Man and starts standing right next to him. As someone who has never read the comics, it will be interesting to see how far Mark will be able to push his abilities in the future. Maybe someday he will get on Big Daddy Thragg's level. Let me know down below if you think I am right or out of my fucking mind with this take. But real quick, I just want to say thank you to everyone watching. Seriously, whether you've been here from the beginning or you just found the channel, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. The comments, the discussions, the support, that's what makes this worth doing. So if you enjoyed the video or it made you think differently, I genuinely appreciate you being here, and we've got a lot more coming.